not see it again, they say, I want to table it. I just want you to know that tabling it means you've actually paused it for the moment, and any member here could bring it back onto the table. So if your motion is literally, let's take this thing away and never see it again, you're going to come up and ask to postpone it indefinitely. And you'll see those in the rules under 11 and 12. All right? If at any point we have a very lively discussion and majority wins and there's a motion to reconsider, it needs to be from the winning side. Just as a reminder, the motion to reconsider is from the winning side because you've gathered some information and you really want to reconsider your vote, and that affords the opportunity to reconsider that vote. If you want to restrict reconsideration, that's number 20. It protects your vote. It means that vote is done if it is passed by majority vote. So if there are no questions on the rules,
Madam Moderator, I move acceptance of the moderator rules.
thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Seconded by Catherine Dawson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Nay. Thank you. Well done, Ben, but I appreciate the votes. That's democracy. So the ayes have it, and the moderator rules are in play. We'll remind you at any point, if I moderator rule on something and you, the body, wants to reconsider my ruling, you are afforded that opportunity. Just come up to the mic, I'm here meeting, I can make a statement, and we will discuss it as we move into the executive session. Okay. Before I go too much further, I'd like to introduce the assistant moderators that are helping me today. If they could stand, Bob Hardy, Deb Shepard, and Kathy Mitchell, and Chuck Mitchell. So these are my official assistant moderators. If you have questions or you see them counting, they are assisting. Thank you so much for your help today. I'm going to turn it over to the chair of the select board to introduce the table to my right and your left.
I am Pat Constantino. To my right is Selectman Catherine Dawson, and Selectman John Scanlon, Selectman Scott Ruggles. Oh, like you couldn't hear me. Thank you. And to Selectman Joe Jesslin is unfortunately ill and very sad he couldn't make it today. And to Scott's right is our newly appointed town administrator, Paul Branscombe. And to his right is our town finance director, Tim Pearson. And I would like everyone to I'd like to introduce our newly elected land use administrator way up in the back, Jason Claypool there. I'd also like to take a minute and thank our employees. This past year has been a very difficult year with a lot of change in personnel, and also you remember we had a disaster at our town hall where we had to move everybody out and so on and so forth when we redid the downstairs because of the ceilings repairs. So our employees did an absolutely marvelous job. They work together, they're very dedicated, and I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of them. So let's give them a round of applause.
Is that working? All right, great. Turn it over to the chair of the budget committee. Actually, not there. To Billy Moore, to introduce his table.
Hi, yeah, Bill Arndt, Chair of the Tilton Budget Committee. To my left is Deborah Shepard, and to her left is Christine Dembinski, Judy Tilton, somewhere around here, and the ex officio is Catherine Dawson. Thank you.
And last but not least,
Can't you use one of those portable mics so we can hear you? Because we can't hear you.
okay, can you hear me now?
No.
All right. Somebody else. I don't want to end up like this one. For me. Is this hot? Okay. There we go. Happy to help. So I'm going to turn it over and introduce Kim Souls, our town clerk. She's going to first go through the results from Tuesday, Article 1 and Article 2, that are published here, but I'll take it away, Kim.
Good morning. The official results from the election this past Tuesday. For Selectmen, Scott Ruggles, 214, Pat Constantino, 189. For Budget Committee, Judy Tilton, for 1 year, 252 votes. Budget Committee 2 years, Stanley Brown. Budget Committee 3 years, Deborah Shepherd, 207, William Lawrence Jr., 211. For Sewer Commission, Catherine Dawson, 235. Supervisor of the Checklist, Cheyenne DeHart, 123, Janice Layton Boudreau, 134. Trustees of the Trust Funds, Janice Layton Boudreau, 240. And our moderator, Helen Hanks, was written in with 48 votes, and thank you, everybody, and thank you, Helen, for that. Next, the 3 zoning amendments that were on the back of the ballot. If you look in your town report, on page 29, that's the first yellow page, I am not going to read the full amendment, just the results. And I don't have the numbers, but I hope they're up there. Oh, beautiful, yes. Okay, the first one, amendment number 1. This was approved. Approval was 217, and the noes were 53. Amendment number 2, multifamily conversion. That was approved, and if we have numbers, oh, thank you. Yes was 191, and the noes were 83. Last but not least, amendment number 3, by petition. The yeses were 122, and the noes were 158, so the third one did fail.
Can you hear me? Here we go. We will be doing a community service award today, but that will happen at 9 o'clock. The attendees will be here around 9 o'clock. So we're going to move into Article 3, and I'll read the article. To see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Tilton and the Tilton Police Union and EPBA Local Number 29, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027, which calls for the following increase in salaries and benefits. Fiscal year estimated increase. Year 1, $53,158. Year 2, $51,234. Year 3, $50,208. And further to raise and appropriate the sum of $26,579 for the current calendar year, such sum representing the additional cost attributable to the increases in salaries and benefits over those that would be paid at current levels. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. A majority vote is required.
So moved.
I want to turn to recognize Pat Constantino to make a motion.
Second.
Madam Moderator, I'd like to move the town adopt Article 3 as proposed.
Thank you. And I'll recognize Catherine Dawson for a second. I'll turn to Pat to discuss her.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. In order to retain and attract the officers, we needed to adjust our starting wage to be competitive with the market. The contract is up for renegotiation in 2027. The reason the first year is so low, it says, 20-some-odd thousand, it's only 26,000, it's a half a year. It's July 1st to the end of the year. Negotiations included the raise, it's 4.5%, 4%, and then 3.5% over 3 years. We did give them a retention stipend. It depends on the years. It goes 3 years, 5 years, and then all the way up to 10 years for the stipend bonus, and then we increased pay time off. Health insurance didn't change, so that's it.
Any discussion on the a motion to accept Article 3? So, I'll read the article again, because that's what I'm required to do. To see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Tilton and the Tilton Police Union, NEPBA Local Number 29, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits. Fiscal year estimated increase year 1, $53,158. Year 2, $51,234. Year 3, $50,208. And to raise and appropriate the sum of $26,579 for the current calendar year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increases in salaries and benefits over those that we paid at current levels. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. So all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? So the ayes have it, Article 3 passes. Moving on to Article 4. First, I'll read the article. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the Budget Committee recommended sum of $6,753,677 for the general municipal operations. The recommended amounts do not include special or individual warrant articles addressed separately. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. And just a point of order, if there are amendments to this article, I need them in writing and I need them signed and brought up, and be happy to take those one at a time. So I'll look to the chair of the Budget Committee to make a motion on Article 4.
I move we accept Article 4.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Jerry Davis. And then I'll look to the chair to speak to his motion.
I feel that we've done a pretty good job, and particularly Tim Pearson has done a great job with being transparent in all these different budgets that we're dealing with, that we're only up 4%, with some big costs in here which we can't control. I think it's very good in this year of inflation, but so that's about all I have to say. I think it's a good budget, and it's constantly looking at being streamlined. We're constantly looking for more revenue, which would help offset. If anyone has any ideas, let us know. But or take any questions.
I recognize Pat Constantine.
Madam Moderator, I make a motion to amend line item 4415.922, Franklin visiting nurses, from $6,000 to $10,000, which is what they originally requested the Budget Committee and is level funded from the 2022 budget.
Is there a second on your motion to amend?
Second.
Your name again? Aaron Abbott. Second. Speak more to your motion.
The Franklin V&A plays a vital role in our town, not just for the seniors, but for everyone with hospice and in-house care. But for the seniors, they do a lot of programming and they do a lot of outreach. The networking that they do is invaluable to us. The programs up at the Senior Center are invaluable. They don't ask for much. Last year it was the Budget Committee cut them, and this year they cut them again from 10,000 to 6,000. 4,000 isn't that much to ask for the value that we get for them. There's been a couple of instances up at the Senior Center where they've done blood pressure clinics or the foot clinics, and they've found something else and been able to help out the seniors. But this needs to continue, and I would hope everybody supports that. Thank you.
Does the Budget Committee want to speak to the amendment?
Sure. We're just a review committee, so we typically ask for comparisons from other towns. And we're always paying more than any other town for similar services in this line, so we just try to equalize it. And at $6,000, we're still paying more than Northfield and any other town except for Franklin to the V&A. And we recognize the importance of a lot of these agencies. They tend to get a lot of federal money anyways. That's what we look at to see how their bottom line is. And we're paying the taxes for the federal money, so sometimes you don't need to pay more. That's typically my thought. And as I look at the services, what is a homemaker service?
What was the question?
The homemaker service for V&A?
And anyone to answer the question of what is the homemaker service with the V&A?
That's 40% of our visits are for homemaker, and I thought that was more like just shopping and helping with checkbooks and stuff, but not a real,
It looks like Pat can answer the question.
They go into the homes of people that have just either had surgery or disabled, that are on oxygen, and they do light housekeeping, they do laundry, and they can go out and do some shopping, although there's another service for that as well, so that's what the homemaking
yeah, and the home health aide would be someone that was actually doing medical procedures, right?
They don't really do the medical portion of it, but they do like light housekeeping, and they may do a meal or meal prep, do dishes and clean up a little bit.
That's just fully 40% of our demand from them. So to me, the other, more important, the home health aide, the medical social worker, the occupational therapist, physical therapist, the registered nurse is a more demanding draw on your services, and we do less of that. So we just felt that it's more comparable.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any?
Any other individuals want to come up to the mic and speak to the amendment? We're just dealing with the amendment right now. Thank you. Please state your name and your address for the record. Can you talk about that?
No.
I can't hear you.
Should we red button?
What number, Richard?
6. This one here.
That one, no.
This one.
My name is Mary Abbott, and I was doing caretaking for my mother before she died, and I don't know what I would have done without the DNA.
They provided enough services so that I actually had a 1-hour break every other day during the week so that I could go pick up her meds, do the laundry, do the grocery shopping, pick up the mail, and do all the other extraneous activities that I had to do outside of the home. They provided her with a bed They provided her with a toilet, and they gave her a bath, which I could not do, and they were invaluable. They did some hospice care for her, and I don't know that I would have made it through, and certainly she would have been a lot less comfortable than she was. And I think $10,000 is practically nothing to pay for a service like that for our people that are old enough that they can't take care of themselves or their homes alone. And that's all I really have to say.
No, you just hand it to the person behind.
There was
Hi, my name is Jennifer Enright. I live at 25 North Minnie Road in Tilton. I've been a nurse for 20 years, working mainly with rehab, with geriatrics, with long-term care. I agree $10,000 is a drop in the bucket for the services that they provide. Often I think you'll see that they provide more of the day-to-day care and not as much of medical care, because that's what folks at home need. $10,000 for a year. If you don't care for your patients or your residents or your elderly or you're injured at home, we're going to be paying $10,000 a month for them to sit in a nursing home. I know firsthand that's what I do. And it could be things as simple as, I can't get my medications, I can't get my healthy food, I can't bathe myself. Now you've got folks coming into nursing homes with bed sores because somebody didn't go in and simply help with a bath. It is absolutely invaluable. Like I said, $10,000 is a drop in the bucket. And I think if you look around the room, look at your folks. We deserve this. All of us are, one slip and fall trying to do our laundry for needing these kinds of cares and being able to stay in our homes with our families.
Full service model. Thank you. Recognize John Scanlon.
It works. So, I mean, approaching ages where I'm going to be needed, but it's not just for the elderly. This is for people injured. Sometimes they have heart attacks or car accidents or things. And they're, as everybody knows, you go to the hospital for something, they throw you out the door pretty quick. You're out there on your own. And some of these people, it's essential that for them to eat or get to the stove or even, little errands. For the first couple of weeks, they need some of this assistance. And so it's not just for the elderly, it's for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Recognize the second mic, name and address, please.
Nathan Lancioni, 8 Winter Street, Tilton. So I just wanted to say I broke my foot earlier, and luckily I live on the ground floor and have stairs, young person, so it's not that difficult. But I can definitely see how older individuals, greater injury, would be unable household tasks without assistance. Ultimately, a small amount of money per individual per $1,000. I support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Moderator,
The chair.
Yeah, just, again, when these agencies come in to talk to us, they say, if you don't give us anything, we're still going to give you service, because they're mostly federally funded. So we know how important ENA, how the library, how the park, the Pines, many other agencies, we didn't fund at all. A lot of the mental health, because we look at their bottom line and they've got tons of money, and that's tax money that we pay. So I think one of the reasons these local agencies, they want to have an ownership in their service. They will be providing it no matter what. We didn't give them any money. They would be still bringing you the services. We're just trying to make it equitable. We just feel that we're going to give you money, but we don't want to have to pay more. I mean, years ago, we were paying cap 4 times that everybody was, and we started asking them why we're doing that. They said, I don't know, you always have. So we just feel that effort, that we appreciate and understand the importance of these agencies. I mean, my mom had them help her, so we just want to be equitable.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the town who would like to speak on the amendment? All right, seeing none, I want to read the amendment one more time. I make a motion to amend line 4415.922, Franklin visiting nurses, from 6,000 to 10,000, which is what they originally have requested the budget committee and is level funded from the 2022 budget. So we're taking a vote on the amendment, not on full Article 4. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Nay. I'm actually in doubt, so if I can have my assistant moderator, we're going to do a count of cards. All right. So all those in favor of the amendment, please raise your pink card. Okay, put those down. All those who said nay, please put up your pink card. Okay. The ayes definitely have. The nays, you were just very boisterous. So the amendment passes. Thank you. Thank you. Also because I only have a cup of coffee this morning. All right. Going back to Article 4 as amended, are there any, please state your name and your address.
Good morning, Madam Moderator. My name is John Barrett. I live at 94 Winter Street in Tilton. I have an amendment here to Article 4. I'm proposing, I have it signed. Shall I bring it down? Thank you very much.
If you could please read your amendment first, and then we'll speak a second. Before you speak to the motion, just read it first.
Okay, I actually handed it over to you. I don't have another copy, I'm sorry. I apologize.
We'll have you read it first. And no apology necessary, it's a team sport today.
Okay, thank you. So, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the Budget Committee's recommended sum of $6,766,432 for the general municipal operations. This recommended amount does not include the special or individual warrants addressed separately.
So, Mr. Barrett, while we're typing that up, if you could speak to the intent of your motion.
Okay, well, the intent of the motion is to increase the Paul Memorial Library budget by $12,755 to $154,000 $148 as originally requested. This is line item 4550.932. This year, the Tilton Budget Committee, along with the Tilton Select Board, recommended $143,393, which is $12,755 less than the library requested. The reason we need this funding increase is in order to retain our talented, dedicated employees and to hire other qualified individuals. The previous speaker was talking about the market rate, and that is something that we're concerned about and attracting additional employees. Most of our current library staff are paid between $14 and $15 per hour, which in many cases is less than what an individual could get at a fast food restaurant. This is a many ways painfully small amount to afford typical expenses like food, shelter, and other necessities. And we feel that our staff is worthy of earning a living wage. The Hall Memorial Library plays a crucial role in providing quality library services in our town. It's a place for learning and knowledge, for reading and discovery, and for community and refuge. Our dedicated library staff provides the access to books, resources, programs that enrich the lives of children, teens, students, families, adults, and seniors. I went back and looked at town reports back all the way back to 2018. And although I didn't have the available information for what the library at that time requested as a budget, I was able to come up with what was received, what was recommended by the Budget Committee and recommended by the town selectmen. And I calculated that the budget increase from 2019 to 2023 was approximately rounded up to $6,000, which is an increase of 4.5% over those years. And the inflation rate for those years combined is 20.60%. So I don't feel that what we're asking is a burden on the town taxpayers for the quality services that the library offers. It is a service that is provided free to all residents in the town in which the library is located. I think that's all I have to say at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm actually going to ask that you amend your amendment the way it's worded, because we just passed an item that changed that number. And if you are specifically looking at this line in the budget,
Yes.
Asking for amendment specific to that line would be more efficient for the body to address than the way you have it currently worded. And I can give you a recommendation if you want to come up here.
Okay, please, thank you.
Yep, come on up. While we're working on that amendment, I don't want to solicit a second until we get it correctly, but if you're up to talk, just bear with me for a minute. Okay, while we work on that, the intent is to amend line 455, sorry everyone, 0.932 Hall Memorial Library from 141,393 to a number yet determined. I'm waiting for that number. So that's what we're going to solicit a second for. So I don't want to move too far forward without having that second number. It would be improper. So just, let's take about a 1-minute recess. So, we have an amendment from John Barrett to move to increase line 4550.932 Hall Memorial Library. The increase is by $12,755. Do I have a second on the motion?
I'll second it.
We get lots of seconds. Madeline Stowe in seconds. If you want to speak to the amendment, please do, in name and address.
Good morning. My name is Noelle Bouchard. I am at 24 Prospect Street. I'm not going to talk about numbers because that's not really my thing, but I wanted to talk about something that I don't think we mentioned is impact and influence. I've heard the word equity brought up, which is great, and I'm having a really hard time finding the equity in this decision. You have staff members at our local library who are struggling to put food on the table, who are working over 40 hours a week. And when I say work, I want to talk a little bit about work. You have librarians teaching people not just reading books, how to read. There are kids that don't have heat and will come to the library to warm up. There are kids that attend wellness club only because they know that will be the only healthy snack they're going to get. You have seniors attending after-hours yoga who otherwise would not be able to walk up the stairs if it weren't for the stretching that they did. You have a woman who came in recently and said, the library saved my life when my husband died, because you all welcomed me, you taught me things. I really appreciate, because I've heard it mentioned, the idea of comparing other towns, right? That's really important to do. To the point that was made earlier, we certainly don't want to be overpaying areas or anything like that. But what you don't see happening at the Franklin Library are people changing students' lives. What you don't see happening at other libraries are the staff members staying after hours to help someone learn English. You don't see that. And we're talking about people that have been at this local library. Homegrown director, she's been there for 15 years and is struggling. You have an ex-teacher, taught for 10 years, made the decision to work in the library to influence and impact his community, struggling to even take vacation or afford healthy food. When your library is on a shoestring budget, your librarians are on a shoestring budget. So just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and I really hope we can come together as a community. I didn't choose to live in Tilton for fancy things. I chose to live in Tilton because of the hardworking community, and I hope we can demonstrate that with this decision. Thank you. Please go ahead.
My name is Matthew Stone. I live at 921 Drive. And my mother was born and raised in Tilton, but I started living here in 2019. I moved in from far away, and then COVID hit. And my salvation was when the library was open, and I went and was reading. Sorry. By every staff member, and every time I go in and I go to my book club, what they provide is a community, well-run program for all ages and all interests. And if we can support them on this need increase, I wholeheartedly ask you to do so.
Before you speak, I saw you sitting in the non-resident section. Are you a resident of the town?
I am.
Okay, if you could stay inside the rails, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Name and address.
Well, two different things, like two different people.
She's not a registered voter, so she had to sit in the non-registered section.
Thank you, Judy.
Jenna and Wright again, 25 North Road. Obviously, speaking on the library, I think sometimes we talk about positions, where sometimes we need to talk about people. You could put, 1,000 people in these roles, but they're not these people. I made the joke last night, my daughter was just turned 8 when Nancy started teaching her how to sew. And every Friday we go and she sews with me. Sorry, I'm get emotional too. We made the joke meeting last night, we shut down the library every Friday night, and it broke down at 6 o'clock because my 9-year-old doesn't want to leave. I made the joke like, oh, we don't have a party closing down the library on a Friday night, My teenage son wanted to apply to work there. And Steve said no, because when Ethan comes every afternoon, almost every afternoon after school, he said I watch him, and he needs an hour to decompress from his day. So he knows my child, and cares more about my child, and my child needs, and seeing him say, he needs that time to unwind. When you go to the library, there's kids bustling everywhere. That's what he needs. Where would these handful of teenagers be if they weren't there? They're cooking, they're learning, and what's sneaky is that they're learning, they don't even know that they're learning, which is fantastic. We talk about education all the time, and education is so paramount. It is so paramount, and the library is such a great extension of that, and the kids don't even know. The difference is that if you look at the kids that are there, often they are not the kids that you think that you find in the library, because they're so comfortable and they're welcome and you're met at their level regardless of what that level is, and that's priceless. They deserve to be compensated and they deserve to be applauded.
I'm the only one with mic issues now. Thank you. Go ahead.
Nathan Langione, 8 Winter Street. So a lot of the costs of the library are fixed. It's going to require a certain amount of money of utilities and upkeep, regardless of whether there's one person in the building or 100 people in the building. So it makes the most sense to have it open and staffed as much as possible, trying to get the most amount of utilization from the money that we're spending. And although I've only been in this town a little over a year, I don't know what else there is for kids to do besides the library as far as instructive things in this town. So it might cost us more money in other ways to not fund the library. Thank you.
So we're going to, I don't see anyone else for discussion. Anyone else want to discuss the amendment before us? All right, then I'm going to read. Oh.
Should I just respond, maybe?
I just want to be clear. The Budget Committee's recommendations are really financial. And so I appreciate everyone talking about the culture and value that the library brings to this amendment. So if you have...
And again, yes, we recognize the value of all these agencies in front of us. They all serve a very important part of our lives. I mean, I've used the library, I've used Pines, all these places that give us services. And so, yeah, just to reiterate how we get to our decision, which is financial and the line is equitable, not equity, that we were talking about. So every library in our area has a smaller budget than our home, or Franklin has a smaller, Belmont has a smaller, Sanfordton has a smaller, Canterbury has a smaller. So, and they're not all for the same. They're apples and oranges in that case. But the other thing is that probably over those 5 years, the reason that was so small, during the 3 pandemic years, they were fully funded, but they actually had $30,000 they didn't spend because they weren't fully operational. So that would skew your figures. This increase they're asking for this year is almost 20%, and 90% of that is wages. I'm not sure they had one position open, or if they filled that yet, and that was for, I think, 40,000. The wages actually for the full-time people are all above living wage, technically speaking. The part-timers, which do not qualify for it, technically, are a little bit. So, pretty much, I guess, we felt that a 20% increase was a little bit much in this.
I'm gonna just remind people that if you're going to make a motion, you need to let the person who's actively talking finish first. And he was not finished. And don't interrupt me, please. Second, I'm gonna allow Deb Shepherd to talk, and then we'll go from there.
Hi, Deborah Shepherd. I've lived in Tilton, Northfield my whole life. I support the library. I'm just concerned with another angle that we had to look at. A lot of nonprofits or people that accept funding from the towns have to also have a horse in the race. They need to raise the monies as well. And the library does not do that at this point in time. They used to charge fees for late. They don't do that anymore. They're talking about expanding programming like a maker's space and drink and paint and sip things. Well, people should have some kind of expense to participate in those things, right? So if you're going to come in and buy all the supplies and the taxpayers are paying for all that, I don't think that's right. I think the people participating should have to pay something to participate. We shouldn't be paying for it all. That's mine. Please go ahead.
Again, John Barrett, 94 Winter Street, Tilton. First of all, the increase is 13.4%, not 20.
Excuse me, we are not going to debate each other from the floor. We're going to let the speaker speak. We will have order. Thank you. Continue, John.
Thank you, sorry. The library in general is not considered a nonprofit by the IRS. However, under the IRS code, it is recognized as a governmental unit, and so it is exempt in that regard. Also, the library, as we view it in the town, and I think as it appears in the annual budget, is not an outside agency. It's part of the cultural and recreation department of the town. In terms of revenue, we do charge people for the materials when they come to the library for a craft program. As far as fines are concerned, there's been a trend in public libraries over the past decade to move away from collecting fines because it's been shown to not really make a great difference. What we have opted to do, like other libraries, is to create a conscience jar. I use that rather than the other phrase, the guilty jar, so that people who are negligent in returning books will try harder to get them back on time. If a book is lost or damaged, we do charge to replace that. And so I think in terms of revenue, we're not into making lots of money. The RSA 2025 states that the library will be forever free to the residents in the town where it is located. So,
Thank you, Mr. Barrett.
thank you.
Dennis Manning, Dealville Road. Talking about positions, not personnel. Actually,
address all comments through the moderator, I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I know that the library's doing some fundraising. I got a sponsorship in the email the other day, so they are making efforts there, but that's not what I want to talk about. I'm looking at the town. We've got salaries that are six-figure salaries in excess of 15, 36%. Well, the six-figure salaries are not in excess of 36% increases. Those are a little below that. But when we're looking at going, we've got some town positions that have gone from 54,000 to 74,000. It's like a 36% increase. $20,000 like that. We're arguing over, a living wage for our library people, and we're giving a single position $20,000. I'm just a little miffed by the differences in, how we came up with these figures. And I know those are negotiations between the select board and then the budget committee has to figure that out. But again, it's just hard to figure how we can come up with 20 grand here, but then for a whole agency, we're arguing over 12 grand. Thank you.
You're for the amendment then, correct? You're for the amendment?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Any other people want to speak to the amendment? Constantino calls the question. Dr. Mitchell seconds the question. All right, I'm going to read the amendment. I being John Barrett, move to increase the line 450.932 Hall Memorial Library by $12,755. So all those in favor will say aye, those opposed will say nay. All. The air is to be humid. We're voting to close the debate. All those in favor will say aye to close the debate on the amendment. All those opposed will say nay. So all those in favor of closing debate on the amendment say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Let's vote on the amendment. I, John Barrett, move to increase the line 4550.932 Hall Memorial Library by $12,755. Now we're voting aye to approve and nay not to. So all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Nay. The ayes have it, and the amendment passes. Do I have any more people who would like to speak to Article 4? Please, go ahead.
Good morning, my name is Stephen O'Leary, 162 School Street. I have a couple quick questions. I just want to know, on line item 4194440, that was the town hall maintenance and building. I know there was a 200% increase over last year. I'd like to know where they got that money from. What departments did they take it from, if it's possible? The money had to come somewhere.
Can someone answer that question? Mr. Ward, which line specifically, which page again? I can't hear myself. Either of these two words. There we go. Mr. LaVoy, the line and page, please. You said 4?
I said 4194440.
That is on page 38 on the bottom. And your question on the maintenance and repairs again, sir? You asked where the money came from? Or
Yes,
yes.
the extra, what department did they take it from to do the repair?
Can someone from the select board answer the question?
Very well worded.
Mr. Pearson, can you answer that question? All right, we're sharing mics so everybody can hear me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right. Get my stats in.
Here we go. So the maintenance and repairs line, there were encumbrances brought forward from the prior year. Some of that money was used, and the rest of the money was from unfilled positions within the operating and specifically in the PD.
Mr. Lloyd, you have a follow-up?
Okay.
Oh, O'Leary. I don't know where Mr. Lloyd is, but Mr. O'Leary, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I do have a
Thanks, sir.
follow-up. The other question I had was on the sewer commission. It doesn't give a line item.
What page, sir?
It is page 51. It starts off with New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, OMM. I'd like to know why there's a $150,000 increase over last year, and they use less than what they were budgeted for.
Okay, Mr. O'Leary. Can someone answer the question on page 51, the change from the actual to the request on the sewer commission? It's a separate body. I'm not sure we're going to get that answer because we're voting on the...
Because that's part of this budget, this is the tail end of that budget, of this article. That's tied in with that article.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Point of clarification is that, can you...
If you look at the sewer commission budget, you'll see that there are significant increases from the Winnipesaukee River Basin project, which is the state. So that's the increase that I think you're asking about. You'll see that.
It's halfway down. Yeah.
What?
It's halfway down.
Yeah, I'm seeing it, I'm seeing it, but if you look at those projects from New Hampshire DES, those have increased.
What is OMM? What is that, operation?
Those are the charges from the Winnipesaukee River Basin project. I'm sorry, I don't know exactly what the acronyms stand for. That's basically what they charge us for the sewage to go down to Franklin and be treated.
So they're gonna charge us almost double from what we paid.
Yes, they've had a project for the past few years. They've been monitoring the amount of sewage that each community sends down there. And they came up with a new formula, and unfortunately Tilton and a couple of the smaller communities have seen a significant increase in those charges, where the larger communities like Laconia and I think Guilford's the other one have not seen such a huge increase. But yes, that's what it is. We've been fighting against it. Our administrator, Johanna, goes to every one of those meetings and has been fighting for us, but unfortunately, we're a small voice compared to the other communities.
Thank you. I wanted to clarify why that big increase. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that question. Are there any other questions associated with Article 4? All right, seeing none, do we have a new number for Article 4, given the amendments? Kathy, are you ready for the new number?
So the original number being $6,753,677 was amended $4,000 for A, $12,755 for Paul Library, for a total of $16,755 worth of amendments, bringing the new total to $6,770,432. 6770432.
So,
I'd like to, do we have a motion to accept Article 4 as amended?
So moved.
I kind of recognize Chuck Mitchell because he had his hand up.
I move we approve the amended article at $6,770,432.
A second by Bob Hardy. All right, are we ready for the motion? All those in favor, I'm going to read the motion. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the budget committee's recommended sum, I'll amend it, of $6,770,432 for general municipal operation. The recommended amounts do not include the special or individual warrant articles addressed separately, and a majority vote required. All in favor will say aye, all opposed will say nay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And the ayes have it. Article 4 passes as amended. We're going to take a motion. Thank you for your patience with these mics. Thank you for your passion at the mics. To our community service award.
I apologize, but my cheat sheet is here. I didn't get it onto my phone, so I will step out and award after my speech. So I'm very excited to be able to do the 2024 Tilton Community Service Award. Julie Caldwell is a dedicated mother, wife, teacher, 24-plus year resident of Tilton, and the penultimate example of humility when it comes to serving her community. For almost 25 years, Julie has quietly served Tilton and the surrounding communities by volunteering with her church and for various other organizations in the Tilton, Northfield, and Franklin area. In addition, she has created a robust community service program at the Tilton School. Julie has done legwork and heavy lifting to make connections and serve multiple organizations locally, including New Hampshire Veterans Home, Red and Rose's Soup Kitchen, Spalding Youth Center, and the Tilton Senior Center. One of Julie's most influential programs is the Seniors Helping Seniors program she created, runs, and participates in. Julie felt that the graduating senior class at Tilton School would benefit from having multiple service projects.
Multiple service projects during their final year, and helping the senior citizens in the Tilton community would benefit both students and residents. So a few times a year, Julie coordinates the Tilton Senior Center to identify senior citizens in the community that could use assistance with projects around their homes. Julie does all this and more with the highest level of humility. She does this so that the community benefits and will continue to do so. It is our pleasure to present Julie Caldwell with the Tilton Community Service Award for 2024.
Thank you so much for this honor. I'm crying a little. This community has just been so wonderful to me and my family. My children have grown up here. I've gotten to know a lot of the residents over the years, working with the town offices and just coordinating with them and making sure that folks who have a need can get the support that they need so that they can have quality of life and be able to be successful in this community. And it's been great also just to incorporate the young people in our community in these efforts. And so I look forward to continuing this programming, and I thank you for this honor today, so thank you.
Moss, my assistant, my lovely computer assistant. Let's even know I'm talking about her. All right, I'm going to read it to you, and we'll wait for her to put it up on the board. Article 5 is to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $90,000 to be added to the town roads, bridges, and sidewalks capital reserve fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee, and I'll look to Selectman Ruggles to speak to Article 5. Make a motion.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 5 as proposed.
Do I have a second? Barry with the second. Would you like to speak to your motion, Selectman Ruggles?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So everyone would like to have you understand that the current capital reserve fund has a balance of $23,742. The additional $90,000 would put the balance at $113,742, of which we have the top coat Morrison and Grant Avenue. Okay, that's $39,040, which would leave the CRF with $74,702. And with the other projects if the warrant article passes. If it doesn't pass, the operating budget will need to be increased by $15,298 in order to pay for the completion of the Morrison and Grant Street projects. Other projects coming up for 2024, if the funding is permitted, would include High Street Extension, West Street, Maple Court, Prospect Street, Daniel Drive, and Pest House Road.
Are there any members who would like to ask questions, speak to the motion? The motion is to adopt Article 5.
Steve O'Leary. I do have a question. I looked at last year's page showing the roads that they're going to do, and Academy Street is on. And now Academy Street has not been taken care of. The road is collapsing. It's going to end up in someone's property. And now you're telling me that you're not even going to do that this year again. What happened to the money from that last year's fund that was dedicated to Academy Street also for being done?
All right, thank you for that question. Selectman Constantine, can you answer that question?
We did Morrison with the money that we saved from Academy Street. We cannot do Academy Street until we come to a resolve with the water company because it's part of their property as well. And unless we come to an agreement with the water company and meet some of their demands, we're not going to come to a resolve just yet.
Well, last year you dedicated money for Academy Street. Now you took the money away, because now it's going to be 3 years, maybe 4 years before Academy Street. Because what I was been told, the disagreement is the town will not take a bond to cover the water pipe. If the water company dug up a road, they have to put a bond up. And this is why the water company, I was told, is requesting a bond put up. And no one is talking about that.
Any follow-up comment about the bond? No. Seeing no follow-up at this time, hearing your concerns about Academy Street. Hearing the concerns about Academy Street, there's no follow-up about the bond issue, so those meetings are discussed at the select board meeting, so. Okay.
So what are they planning on doing with Academy Street? Because like I said, it's...
Mr. O'Leary, as we heard earlier, it is part of the next capital reserve fund project list. There's a barrier between the town and the water district, and you just brought a good question forward about what is that barrier, and we as taxpayers can go to those meetings and try to help move that along. Mr. O'Leary, do you have a follow-up question?
I do agree with the 90,000, but I'd like to know what happened to the money from last year.
They indicated they was out of Morrison.
Deal last year.
Yeah.
We were over $200,000 last year in that fund. Now it's all gone.
Do you want an overlay of how that money was spent for every road, sir? Or are you still focused only on Academy Street, or do you want to answer to how that money was spent last year on all roads? follow?
So, when you see these lists and the plans, sometimes roads have to be done before other ones due to their conditions or their readiness to actually perform the work on that road. So very well, one of these roads on the new projects could be switched out at Academy Street if we get to that point. It's all based on the conditions of the roads. We plan to do roads. We have a 10-year plan and we set that up. Sometimes some roads need it first and they get swapped around a bit. That would be why that's not on the budget for this year. But it could be, very well could be if things work out. We could switch another road before that. Thank you.
Mr. O'Leary, do you have a follow-up?
Academy Street is unsafe one way. That's why you guys made it a one-way road. It is collapsing. How much longer is it going to collapse before it actually gets done?
Selectman Russell?
Mr. O'Leary, again, this is a complicated situation that is based on the negotiations with the water department. So we have tried to do those negotiations in the best interest of the town in terms of cost and potential expense. So whether it's the bond issue or how many years they want us to hold that bond for, we have not come to an agreement on that. So when we do come to an agreement, and we would like to get it done just as much as everyone else would, then we will get it done. But we are not going to acquiesce, okay, which could cost you and all the other taxpayers in the room more ultimately.
Any other members of the town like to speak to Article 5? Please come to the mics. All right, seeing none. There is a motion on the floor to adopt Article 5. I'm going to read the article. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $90,000 to be added to the town roads, bridges, and sidewalks capital reserve fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee, and a majority vote is required. All in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. A couple of nays, but the ayes have it. Article 5 passes. Got a little ahead of myself. All right. Moving on to Article 6. I'm going to read the article. Might have to be quicker. We'll bring it up. I'll read it when she brings it up. Article 6, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $45,000 to be added to the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget, and this article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. I will look to Selectman Pat Constantino for a motion on Article 6.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 6 as proposed.
Do I have a second? Second. I see Jerry. Jerry's fast. Jerry seconds it. Would you like to speak to your motion, Selectman Constantino?
The current rolling stock is in good working condition. The DPW director is not looking to purchase any equipment for another year. The current CRF balance is $52,376. Adding $45,000 puts the balance of $97,376 for 2024.
Does anyone want to come to the mic to speak to Article 6? Seeing none, I'm going to read Article 6. The motion is to adopt Article 6. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $45,000 to be added to the Highway Equipment Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee, and a majority vote is required. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. So the ayes have it. Article 6 passes. Moving on to Article 7. Article 7. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the Town Building Infrastructure Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee, and a majority vote is required. I'm going to look to Selectman Scanlon for a motion on Article 7.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 7 as proposed.
Do I have a second on Article 7? There you go, Jared, for the second. I will look to Selectman Scanlon to speak to his motion.
Okay, so this is for $20,000 to be added to the town buildings and infrastructure capital reserve fund. We have, let's see, there's 5 town-owned buildings. There's Department of Public Works, we have the Town Hall, Police Department, Riverfront Park, and the Senior Center. So I think it's very self-explaining. We put $20,000 away, we keep in a fund. When our roof fails or a boiler or something like that, we won't be shelling out as much money, and possibly we can cover those costs. Our roofs, as we all know, are very expensive. Our town hall roof is getting real close there. So, we want to make sure we have enough money and that we don't have to hit all the taxpayers in 1 year for doing those savings account. Thank you.
Does anyone want to come to the mic and speak to Article 7?
Randall Roy, 12 Hemlock Road. I just want to know how much is in the fund now?
Selectman Scanlon, can you answer the question, how much is in the fund now? They get to that question.
And our finance director is going to have the exact for me in a minute. He's good. Yes, it's February.
It's on page 50. He's looking it up straight from the bank account. He's giving you a detailed number.
Today.
$20,790.50 as of the end of February 2020.
I hope that.
It's a very precise answer. Thank you.
Repeat that, please. $20,790.03.
As of February 2024. 20,709.03 as of February 2024 is in that account. Any other individuals want to speak to Article 7? All right, seeing none. The motion is to adopt Article 7. I'm going to read that article. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 to be added to the town building infrastructure capital reserve fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. A majority vote is required. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And the ayes have it, and Article 7 passes. Moving on to Article 8. Article 8. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to be added to the Tilton Island Preservation and Improvements Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee, and I'm going to look to Selectman Scanlon to speak to Article 8. Make a motion on Article 8.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 8 as proposed.
Do I have a second? There he is, our second. I'll look to Selectman Scanlon to speak to his motion to adopt Article 8.
Okay, so we've had this fund for a while. We're putting money away, $10,000 that will be added to the Island Preserve and Improvements Capital Reserve as previously established. As you know, we need to do some work on it. We've been actively trying to get just engineering studies and costs and all that. It's a very difficult thing here. And working with the state on to mitigate erosion. They're talking about repairing the wall along just upstream from it. So putting another $10,000 into this account, so we're ready once all of this pulls together. Good idea. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there other members that would like to speak to Article 8? Right up to the mic, please. State your name and your street address.
Yeah, Robert King, Lancaster Hill Road. What is currently in the fund? I usually ask this every year.
Selectman Scanlon?
I can answer that. Madam Moderator. Currently, the fund balance is $87,140, and with this $10,000 will bring it naturally to $97,140. Thank you.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah. What is the cost, if you know it, of a study to move the rocks back in to protect the island? Does anybody know that?
Does anyone know the cost to move the rocks back up onto the, well,
At this time, no.
Of the study, they have to do a study first, right?
that's my
An
understanding.
environmental
Yes,
impact
they have to
study.
do an environmental impact study. Yes.
But nobody has any idea what that would be.
We do not have any firm figures on the repair of the island at this point.
But that would be included in the 97,000 if we pass it.
Would this be an eligible expense in this fund?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you for those questions. Anyone else want to speak on Article 8? All right. Seeing none, the motion is to adopt Article 8. I will read Article 8 to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $10,000 to be added to the Tilton Island Preservation and Improvements Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And the ayes have it. Article 8 passes. Moving on to Article 9. Article 9. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,000 to be added to the Revaluation Capital Reserve Fund established in 2002. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. I will look to Selectman Constantino for a motion.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 9 as proposed.
Do I have a second? Seconded by Jerry. Seconded by Jerry. I will have Selectman Constantino speak to her motion.
The current reserve fund balance is $69,094. Adding the $9,000 puts the balance at $78,094 for 2024. The update cost is $75,612.
Thank you. Any members want to come and ask questions regarding Article 9? All right. Seeing none, I will read Article 9, as I have to by law. Article 9. The motion is to adopt Article 9 to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,000 to be added to the Reevaluation Capital Reserve Fund established in 2002. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. And the ayes have it. Article 9 passes. Moving on to Article 10. Article 10. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to Lake Improvement Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. I will look to Selectman Scanlon to make a motion on Article 10.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 10 as proposed.
Do I have a second? And Jerry seconds it again. Look to you, Selectman Scanlon, to speak to your motion.
Okay, so it's $5,000. It goes into the fund that we use for the Lake Improvement Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. And if you are not familiar with this, a lot of our lakes, Silver Lake, and our sections of these lakes have a lot of milfoil. We've been working to control it and remove it. It chokes out the lakes, and it's one of those things that if you don't keep it up, can be a lot of issues and damages to the lake. So presently, we have $5,138. We'll be adding $5,000 more for a total of $10,138 for 2024. I might add that we have been drawing off of this and paying for removal of the milfoil, and it's been doing quite well. Thank you.
Any members of the assembly want to speak or ask questions associated with Article 10, please come to the mic. The moderator recognizes Chuck Mitchell.
Yes, on the milfoil removal, there are other invasive species in addition to the milfoil. For example, the whole area around where Jay's Marina, in that area, and there's another one a bit further south. Those are on Lake Winnisquam, and we did a major contribution this year to Silver Lake. They had a very large cost this year. Their costs were, I think, somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000. They do get some subsidy from the state, but they also have been requesting some funds for assistance, and as well as the Silver Lake Association. So it's not just a donation from us. It's a mutual effort to try to help to control those lakes. Thank you.
For the members of the assembly, Chuck Mitchell is the chair of our town's Conservation Commission. Okay. Motion on the floor is to adopt Article 10. Are there any other individuals who would like to speak to the motion? Thank you.
Campbell Road, 12 Hemlock Road. I just wanted to Judge Jay's Marina and Silver Lake, was that also milfoil, or was it something else?
Silver Lake did removal of other species in addition to the milfoil this year. And part of the process is that they use two methods of treatment. One is a spraying and a control using chemicals, and the other one is an actual physical removal where they have divers to go in and actually harvest the milfoil and those other species.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. Motion on the floor is to adopt Article 10. I will read Article 10. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 to the Lake Improvement Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund previously established. This appropriation is not included in the operating budget. This article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Budget Committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. So the ayes have it, and Article 10 passes. A little louder to keep us all awake. Article 11. To see if the town will vote to approve modifying the optional veterans credit and all veterans tax credit in accordance with RSA 72:28 Roman numeral 2 and RSA 72:8-B from its current tax credit of $500 per year to $750 per year. Majority vote required, and I will look to Selectman Ruggles to make a motion on Article 11.
Madam Moderator, I move that the town adopt Article 11 as proposed.
Do I have a second? Jerry, right on top of it with a second. I will look to Selectman Ruggles to speak to his motion.
Hi, everyone. So in the 2023 warrant article, for both RSA 7228, the optional veterans credit, and RSA 7228B, all veterans credit, it had to be readopted due to changes in RSA 2150 with the definition of a veteran. This year, we need to seek to modify both RSA 7228 and 7228B, as the article indicates the amount shall be equal to the optional veterans, so we should increase the amount from $500 to $750. There are currently 154 RSA 7228 optional veterans. This would increase the credit from $77,000 to $115,000 and increase $38,000. And there are 20 all veterans, and that would increase from $10,000 to $15,000 with an increase of $5,000.
Thank you, Selectman Ruggles. Are there any questions from the Assembly? If there are, please come to the mic or comments. Oh, I see Mr. Baker.
Good morning.
Good morning.
For those of you who unfortunately don't like to know me, my name is Tom King, I'm with 401 Tilton Road. I'd like to speak in favor of this article. I don't think it goes far enough. As a parent of a totally disabled, to a combat veteran, I know how people have suffered. And I know that this is going to go a long way to help these people. Now, this doesn't mean that they have to be, disabled, it just means they have to be a veteran. But this is really, really important. I don't think it goes far enough. This is the first step in helping these people that have served this country with great honor. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Bob Yanni, resident of 5 Ridge Road in Tilton. I'm for this article for the simple reason that I did not have the honor of serving around country because of medical problems. But I did serve in a facility where, during the wars, body parts were come back. We had the honor of trying to put these people back together again, so that family could see them. And we have to have the respect for these veterans that are still alive, that are still here, willing to do whatever we can for our country. It's very hard to see families not seeing their deceased because of the injuries they have suffered during the wars and whatever part of the country and the nation they had to serve. So from $500 to $750 is a drop in the bucket, but at least it helps. It helps us that are struggling with the raised taxes, with the raised food, with the raised medicals, to coincide with each other, feel for each other, and hopefully this will help us along the way. Thank you.
Thank you. The motion on the floor is to adopt Article 11. Seeing no other speakers, I'm going to read the article. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to approve modifying the optional veterans credit and all veterans tax credit in accordance with RSA 72:28 Roman numeral 2 and RSA 72:28-B from its current tax credit of $500 per year to $750. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And the ayes have it. Article 11 passes. Article 12 is to enact any other business that may legally come before the meeting. Mr. Sanders to the mic first, but Mr. King, if you'll come up second, that'd be great.
Tim Sadler, Lancaster Road, just want to remind everybody that there's the fire district meeting is Monday night during the cafeteria at 7 o'clock.
Mr. King, I'm going to recognize Mr. King first.
Yes, Robbie King, Lancaster Hill Road. It's concerning Article 3 of last year. I'd like to know what the status is on the Island Bridge, okay, currently.
Thank you, Mr. King. Can someone answer his question what the status is on the bridge from our vote from last year? Don't all jump first. Selectman Ruggles, I recognize you to do your best to assist.
I will do my best. So, Mr. King, as has been outlined in a number of our meetings, trying to look at what would be the best possible solution for the Island Bridge. One of the promises that we made on Article 3 last year was not to use it unless we had outside funding that was going to offset it. We don't have that yet. But if you've watched the last couple of meetings that we've had, we've discussed with the engineering group that's going to start taking a look at the island and the bridge. We've discussed multiple options for it. We have not come to a decision yet because we just feel that we're not in a place to come to a decision about the bridge. But in terms of Article 3 last year, one of the promises we made to this body was to try and get offsetting funding, which we were not able to do, so we don't want to bond out for $1 million to the town without that.
Mr. King, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, so the grants, have they fallen through, or have they not been
achieved?
Correct.
So,
they.
so that would put the cost at $1 million to be funded.
More than that. More than that.
More than that, yeah. I'm sure it's going to be more than that. I would like to make a motion. I don't know if it's exactly the right thing to do. I would like to rescind Article 3 of the 2023 town warrant for discussion of the options for the Island Bridge in 24.
Mr. King, you can't undo an action from a previous town meeting.
You can't
Not-
undo one. I
would have
wasn't
to-
sure whether you could or not.
Yeah, not in the form in which you're trying to do it today. If you, in the future, were to petition a new warrant article that would be duly noticed for next year, you could work now in preparation for that.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
That was fair enough.
I'm
That's
used to doing
that's
that.
why Article 12 is.
But I'm concerned about that bridge, and I'm concerned that the cost is going to be way over what we're expecting.
Yeah, thank you for sharing those.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to recognize Selectman Constantino before I go to Mr. Brown, because she's patiently waiting.
Promise I'll be really quick. When I introduced the table, I was very remiss in introducing our newly appointed administrative assistant who's in the back of the room, Amy Despins. And also our newly appointed DPW Director, Shane Dow, who is also in the back of the room.
Mr. Brown.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Moderator, you hear me all right?
Ish.
Bob Brown, San Juan Road. My comment is relative to the Island Bridge as well. I know you're considering multiple options for the remedy that bridge situation. And I just wanted to recommend to you that when the time does come, and you're ready to make a decision which way to go, that I'd like to propose that we just remove the old bridge and replace it with a new bridge that's built to last. Metal roofs, a nice good bridge. And in addition to that, I'd like to see a portion of the old bridge saved to create a memorial on the island in honor of the service that bridge has given to the town in 150 years. Similar to the kind of memorials that you see at state and national parks, with maybe a granite pedestal, photograph of the original bridge, that sort of thing. Do it right. So I know that's going to be expensive and it's going to take years to accomplish it. But I just wanted to throw that in addition to what Bob King.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, if you come over to the mic, Jerry, we'd be happy to hear from you.
Past time I have been here, and when I won health, I think the police department is doing a hell of a good job for us. But we should give them a good hand, and when I need them, they're right there. Thank you very much for the police department.
All right, any other business under Article 12? I'm looking around the room. I am going to recognize Chuck Mitchell, who's making a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? By Bob Hardy. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Before you exit, it's not Article 12, but for all those that have run for office, just thank you. Putting yourself out there for civic responsibility is a big thing. And for those that were a majority vote, please come down and see Kim Souls because you will need to take an oath of office. Have a wonderful weekend.